Sing me a song of a land that is gone. Say, could that lass be I?
This is going to be a little bit different today. We really did not, your first Sunday, oh my, what was I going to say? Oh, golly, getting old's hard. But the eighth principal group that does the first Sundays over the last year, we got to thinking about, people, this is going to be a long weekend for some people, and they may go out of town or whatever, and so we figured it wouldn't be a very good turnout. So thank you all for coming that did. And so we decided to do something a little more lighthearted, and I'll say more about that a little bit later. I have not been handed any announcements. And we will have you do if you have some to do after we've had the children go to their classes. Please save those or any joys and sorrows that you might have. Lou, you ready to do the chalice lighting?
Well, I haven't found it yet.
Oh, okay.
I think it's on the slide.
Is it on the slide? Let's see. I said this was going to be lighthearted, didn't I? And is it written on that? I know you were keeping an eye on your daughter. Yes, there you go. So you can read it and then light it. Do you want me to read it while you light it, or can you turn around? This, for some of you that don't know, this is the chalice lighting we have used for every one of the First Sunday, 8th Principle services.
We don't have a lighter.
Oh, that's because, yes. Addie Pearl wanted to play with
This
it.
looks like.
So, see, will that one work? Okay.
It doesn't work upside down.
There's another one, honey. Here, honey. Okay. This one doesn't seem to work at all. Okay, new lighters. We need new lighters. You gonna use it?
If we have any hope of transforming the world and changing ourselves, we must be bold enough to step into our discomfort, brave enough to be clumsy there. Good illustration. Loving enough to forgive ourselves and others. May we, as a people of faith, be granted the strength to be so bold, so brave, and so loving.
And now Erin will do our story for all ages.
I can project. Oh, now you can hear me. Okay. Good morning. Good morning. I have my book today on my tablet. It helps if you smile at the camera, and then it knows that it's you. I took a bite out of the apple. I got hungry earlier. The story today is Music is for Everyone. Oops. By Jill Barber with art by Sydney Smith. And this is how the story goes. Music is for everyone. There are so many ways to join in the fun. We can clap our hands or stomp our feet. We can sing out loud or move to the beat. We can play classical in a symphony with a big trombone or a timpani. Do you know what a timpani is? It's a big drum. Right here. Oops. We can sing a lullaby as soft as a pedal or shout out loud like it's heavy metal. We can bring out the sun on a rainy day with some mellow beats and a little reggae. We can plunk on the piano or strum the guitar. We can pretend we're up on stage like a big pop star. We can sing old standards like a real jazz cat. We can make up silly words. They call that scat. Bip bop boodle-dee. We can play the drums. We can make a racket. But if you're in a marching band, don't forget your jacket. Yes. We can speak in rhyme and sing hip hop or have a mighty fine time playing old bebop. Is that your favorite? That's awesome. We can chant special prayers around a big campfire or sing sweet harmonies as part of a choir. We can pick up the banjo with an old country twang or move to the groove aboard the soul music train. We can tell a good story in a sweet folk song, teach everyone the chorus, and have a big sing-along. That sounds like fun. That's right. We can sing at an operetta with a big booming voice, or hum a quiet little tune. It's your choice. It's fun to explore every kind of way that we make music together. So let's sing and play.
And let's sing.
And now, would you like to take the lantern out, Tondi? Okay, thank you. And Tondi will lead us out.
And we'll sing together. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Okay. We did, we saw it. Okay. And now we will do our joys, concerns, sorrows, announcements. What I would like to share today is what I find to be the irony of rights lost or damaged just prior to the celebration of our country winning its freedom for everyone. Any other joys, concerns, sorrows, or announcements?
Bobby Schaeffer, my joy is we have a new board.
And you're not on it. That's the real joy. Oh, is this the same one?
Speaking of new boards, I would like to announce that there will be a special board meeting Monday evening at 6:30.
That's tomorrow. Okay. Anything else?
My name is Carolyn Peck, and I just want to, I think about this every Sunday when I'm here. I just want to thank all the people in this congregation, and you know who you are because I can't name you, there's too many, who have stood up and taken care of this organization during the pandemic in the last few years, because it was really hard, and some people really were pretty burdened by the task, and we made it in part by all of you who stepped up and filled the steps. Thank you all.
Yes. Yeah.
This announcement will be in the newsletter, but I know there's some people here who don't get the newsletter, and like visitors and new people.
Oh, right, yeah.
And we'll have a Dinners for All, which is a big potluck, and all UUs and their friends are invited. It will be at the home of Micah and Aaron Forstein. There will be directions, well, their address will be there. You're going to have to go to Google Maps because it's kind of an obscure place to get to. And Micah, would you raise your hand? He's the co-host along with his wife, Erin, who read the story this morning. So I hope to see you all there on the 29th of July. That's Linda's birthday, but she won't be here. $5:30.
And speaking of birthdays, many of you know our youngest son, Michael, who was actually born here, not literally in this building, but he was born while we were already members here, and he turns 40 on the 6th.
Well, on the day before that, our daughter Beth, who was not born in this building, but to this congregation, will turn 39 because she's younger. She's a younger woman.
Younger than Michael, yeah. Okay. And now, did we send the offering around yet? Let's do that. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. As I mentioned earlier, what we now call ourselves as the 8th Principal Team, decided that this was probably going to be a low turnout and low energy for us Sunday. So we decided that we wanted to do something a little more lighthearted, and I began remembering the caring and sharing types of services that we did years ago when we didn't have a minister or our minister was on leave. And they were services where a theme was announced and you could come prepared to do a reading, a poem, a song, something on that Sunday. So it was just very loose in terms of planning but very participatory. So we tried to get the word out as much as possible, but we got kind of minimal response. So, and we truly appreciate those who did, that you will be hearing from in a moment. But don't worry, I have a plan B. That we will, but first we want to have those that are in our plan A to share. And Lou, would you do the reading that we have to precede this. That's better than Paul me. Okay. Well, I graduated from high school in 1956. My family was very interested in music. I mean, my dad was a self-taught guitar player, and one of the ways he supported our family during the difficult years of the Depression was with his band. His band played on the radio in Salina. Woo! And but you know, it brought in a few bucks. So we always paid attention to music, and especially pop music. And in the 50s, rock and roll came on the scene. And I didn't get it. I did not get rock and roll. I just didn't speak to me. It ruined pop music as far as I was concerned, and it certainly ruined ballroom dancing. But jazz, I love jazz. Jazz spoke to me. It was a language that just seemed to soak in through my pores. And I think a lot of you feel the same way. So I found this poem by Sonia Sanchez, a poem for Ella Fitzgerald. And I'm just going to read part of it. It's very long. Okay. When she came on stage, this Ella, there were rumors of hurricanes, and over the rooftops of concert stages, the moon turned red in the sky. It was Ella. Queen Ella had come, and words spilled out, leaving a trail of witnesses smiling. Amen, amen, a woman. She began, this three-aged woman, nightingales in her throat, and squads of horns came out to greet her. Streams of violins and pianos splashed their welcome, and our stained glass silences, our braided spaces unraveled, opened up, said, "Who's that coming? Who's that knocking at the door? Whose voice lingers on that stage gone mad with perdido, perdido, perdido? I lost my heart in Toledo." Whose voice is climbing up this morning chimney, smoking with life, carrying her basket of words? A tisket, a tasket, my little yellow basket. I wrote a letter to my mom, and on the way I dropped it. Was it red? No, 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 no. Was it green? No, 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 no. Was it blue? No, 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 no. Just a little yellow voice rescuing razor-thin lyrics from hopscotching dreams. And our first participant offering is Lana.
Well, my musical heritage stems from a father who played a trombone in a community band, a mother who played the violin in her church orchestra, and a grandmother who played the piano, and a family that liked to sing. And while my heritage is as such, except that my dad sang in German to his equipment and to his farm animals and whatnot while he worked. But one that I remember is, my Hut der haft Dreiecken, and Dreiecken haft mein Hut. And that's how much I remember it. My hat, it has 3 corners, and 3 corners has my hat. And has it not 3 corners, then it is not my hat. So that was his song. But what I really grew up in younger years with my family singing was this book of cowboy songs. And this is the original book, family book, of cowboy songs. Okay? And my mother would kind of plunk away at the piano and sing them usually after we went to bed, and we just could hear her, and then we'd learn the songs. And my brother was really into cowboy songs, so much that he made up his own, and that the older boys in school would give him treats if he would sing his cowboy songs that he made up. So that's the background. The other book we had in the family, and this is original from the family, the All-American Songbook. Did anybody have this songbook in their family? Okay. Well, once a week I do Hour of Music at Rose Villa, and that's a residential facility. Dennis spent an hour there with us one day. It's primarily veterans. But the reason there are so many tabs in this is how many songs from this book that I use from time to time with my group at Roseville. So anyway, in the tradition of the Swartz family, we're going to sing, okay, and we're going to sing an old cowboy song.
I want to say I had real cowboys in my family. I did. We just buried one a couple of weeks ago. With his boots on? I'm an old cowhand from the Rio Grande, but my legs ain't bowed and my cheeks ain't tied. I'm a cowboy who never saw a cow, never roped a steer, 'cause I don't know how, and I ain't fixing to start it now. Yippee-i-oh-ki-yay, yippee-i-oh-ki-yay. I'm an old cowhand from the Rio Grande, and I learned to ride, for I learned to stand. I'm a riding fool which is up to date, and every trail in the Lone Star State, 'cause I ride the range in a Ford V8. Yippee-i-oh-ki-yay, yippee-i-oh-ki-yay. I'm an old cowhand from the Rio Grande, and I come to town just to hear the band. I know all the songs that a cowboy knows, but the big corral where the doggies go, 'cause I learned them on the radio. Yippee-i-oh-ki-yay, yippee-i-oh-ki-yay. I'm an old cowhand from the Rio Grande, where the West is wild, round the borderland, where the buffalo run around the zoo, and the Indians make you a gourd too. Yeah, old Barrett's is a barbecue. Yippee-i-oh-ki-yay, yippee-i-oh-ki-yay. Yeehaw! Next, we have Carolyn Peck.
Some of you may not know me as shy, but this is a really big deal. I have my big girl pants on. It's good you can't see them. So, some of you may know that for a career, I was a social worker. And the last 14 years of my practice was at the VA. And I worked with combat veterans in the inpatient PTSD program. And I met a woman in the lunchroom, a psychologist, who played the flute, the Native American flute. And unlike some of you, I didn't grow up in a musical family. When I was a kid, I played the silver flute, which now I can't even get a sound out of hardly. And and I also played the piccolo in the orchestra, and that was terrible, because if you guys know what a piccolo sounds like and what orchestra instruments sound like, you can't play a note without being, I mean, you know, you can't play it soft, you can't pretend to just blend in, you're just out there. And so I didn't really like that, but I did it for a year or two. So I was a senior and finished. But back to the VA. I met Barb Book, and she's a psychologist who plays the Native American flute, and she had a flute circle. And she gave me a flute, one of her flutes, and she has like, I don't know, 60 different flutes. And I was going to be one of those people that said, I only need one. I don't need more flutes. And this is just a small collection of what I have accumulated. And the reason that you want more than one flute, besides they're really cool and the cool sounds, is the reason you want different flutes is because they're different keys. So some are real low and some are high and some are really kind of cool looking. I'll show you that in a little bit. But anyway, because I was involved in a lot of trauma work, it was pretty important for me to figure out a way to quiet my brain, quiet my heart, quiet my soul a little bit. And, you know, the words that I think of are om, or breathe, or something like that. And this was the perfect thing. And the thing that's really cool about these flutes is that you don't have to be a musician. I don't read music anymore. I mean, I know what the scale is, but I don't know what the scale is on this if I look at notes. So I don't know if you can see this, but these are my notes. It's pictures of the flute with the holes covered. So that's that. And the sounds are really for me, very soothing and comforting. And I have a kind of floor-to-ceiling almost rack with little dowels hanging out like this, so they sit like that. And I can sit in my recliner chair now that I'm retired, and I just go like this and grab a flute and play if I'm so moved. And it's kind of a cool thing. I might be watching TV or a movie, and I will mute it or put it on hold and take the flute out and play a little ditty. So that kind of gives you a little history of where this is from, where I got into this. And I don't know, I think I'm going to be able to take some time. I've given Jake a YouTube, we're not ready going to do it yet, but a YouTube video and music that Barb has produced. She has gotten really serious, especially during the pandemic. She hates it when I say she's older than me. But she's the oldest one in our flute circle, and she's the most technologically oriented. So she's actually produced flute music to video clips. And one of the things we do in our flute circle, we meet once a week. And sometimes one of the members will, and she's Native, she will bring a little essay, like a narrative that she wrote about some scene in nature. and then we each one play it. We play it to the words. And so you'll be able to see kind of what I'm talking about. There's going to be clips up there that are clips that she just took from the internet and then played music to them and put it all together. And I really wanted to play one in particular, and I maybe will do that at another time perhaps, that's on the Sandy Hook shootings. That's very powerful. And I can't do that because you have to have all this equipment and I'm too cheap. So I just play my flute, and usually when we have flute circle, there's a microphone and a reverb and some things to kind of play with. So anyway, one of the things that I did recently, this was during the pandemic, one of my best friends, her name is Peggy. She was a social worker. She used to live in Topeka. And she moved to Santa Fe a long time ago, and she died during the pandemic. And I wrote a song, and Janine said this needs to be upbeat, but I don't listen to directions very well. But it feeds my soul, and this kind of playing kind of makes my heart sing. And especially since I'm retired, I love to do things that make my heart sing, because I didn't usually, when I was younger, I was on a treadmill. I was a single parent of a special needs kid, and I did intense, heavy trauma work for my career. And so that's how I got here. Okay, so the words to this song are, "Oh Peggy, where are you now, where are you now? You left me in the world more alone, more alone. One less ya-ya, one less ya-ya. Where are you now, where are you now? But what a life we led. Remember the time that the turtles, that beautiful morn, we laughed till we cried, and then we cried some more. What fun we had. Guess it's over now. Oh Peggy, where are you now?" And the thing about the yayas is that in the 1980 or 81, there was a consciousness raising group of several friends of mine, and Peggy was in that group. And I was Barbara, there's another Barb in that group too, and she and I were the only ones out of 6 that weren't from Kansas. And now I'm the only one here. They all moved away and have other lives and got married and all that kind of stuff, and I'm still here. But we call ourselves the Yayas, after the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. And what do I want to say about that? That's enough. We still get together like every 5, 7, 8 years. We meet somewhere in the country and spend 3 or 4 days, and we get high and we laugh and we play music and we visit and we laugh a lot. And on this particular morn that I'm recalling with Peggy, we went to San Francisco from Topeka in a car in a tiny little Subaru, and she's like 6'1", and I'm not short either. And we slept in our car all night and woke up, got high, and hit the road. And we were approaching the Rockies, and there was a line of the Rockies that we could see as we were approaching, and they looked like turtles. It was a turtle parade, and she saw it and I saw it, and we laughed forever. So that's the story of this song. That's the only sad song, Janine. I'm not done. So this is a low C flute. It was made by somebody in my group. And the music comes out from here. There's a little, this is called a fetish or rock. And the music comes out from here and here. And so one of the things you have to do when you play is you have to move it around some to make sure that this hole is just right. And where the fetish is for the hole on each flute is a little different, so you have to kind of adjust it. So if I don't, I might stop in the middle to do that adjustment. So they make these flutes by cutting them in half. A piece of wood they cut in half and they hollow it out and then they glue them back together like that. Jack made this flute also. I was showing this to the Auger boys, and it was really fun because when I was playing the flute, they were going like this when I was making sounds, and all of them were. It was really cute. And this flute has deer hide all over it, but if you look inside, it's a PVC pipe. So, and Jack made this flute also. And the sound is very different in all the flutes, and I brought some of my favorites, and I brought some that I bought because I thought they were cool looking, but I don't like the sound really. That's what the sound is on that. So the sound isn't rich, but it's still a flute. This one, I don't know why. This got a bone fetish. This one makes noise. And if you play a long time, which I'm not going to do, but if I was a performer, I go to people who play this kind of music and they play for a couple hours. It gets really full of saliva and stuff. And one of the guys was saying, his name is Randy, he was playing and it was getting what they called watered. And he went like this and sprayed saliva. I promise not to do that. Oops. See? I could play a song that you guys might know. Let me see. Know what that is? 500 miles. Jean's giving me this song, so I'll just show you some flutes instead of playing very much. My favorite flute is this one. It's a G. It was my first one, and it was made by a guy from Nebraska, and his name is Colin Powell. Colin Peterson, and we used to call him, get your Colin Powell flute out. Let me see, what do I want to play with this? Okay. make some notes on it, but this is one of the ones that I bought because I thought it was cool. It was pretty and it was neat looking. It's made by High Spirits, who makes a lot of different flutes. It's got turquoise in it, looks like a duck. But see if you think the sound isn't as rich, really. Because it was a good deal and it was pretty. I don't know if we have enough time to play the video. No. Okay. If we have time at the end, I can show you. Obviously, we now have discovered several programs that can be done for an entire program. Oh, honey, you were on a roll. If you did all the things you wanted to do, it would have been a whole service. Yeah, no, it would, yeah, we've got them. So, Micah.
So, after that wonderful indigenous flute music provided by Carolyn, I think I should start with a rain dance. What do you think? Shafte Mayim Misason, mi meine Yeshua, Shafte Mayim Misason, mi meine Yeshua, Mayim, 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 hey Mayim Misason, Mayim, 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 hey Mayim Misason, hey, 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 Mayim, 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 Mayim Misason, Mayim, 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 Mayim Misason. So, that's actually a rain song. Mayim is the first Jewish word that I learned when I was a kid. Means water, right? Okay. So I grew up son of a rabbi, and so my most of my childhood was wrapped in Jewish music. So the second piece that I think was kind of interesting will take a little while. It's the Grace After Meals, which is set up to be sung after every meal, and it's supposed to be in traditional form 45 minutes of singing. And then I have alternate words, which is going to be another 45 minutes. Is that okay? No. But I will sing a little bit of it and let you know that we use this song as a we sung an abbreviated version. It was only about 20 minutes when I was in summer camp, and of course, being 7, 8 years old, we found other ways of making the song interesting to us. Do you have that picture? So this is a picture of me when I was about 5 years old at the Blinza brunch. This was my first Blinza, and they caught it, on camera there. So I encourage you, if you have the opportunity, to go to the Blinza brunch next year. Usually happens around April. But the Grace After Meals is called the Berachot, the Birchat, Birchat Hamazon. And it goes, Chavarain Varech, Yaishem Eloi Varach V'yotav Yad Olam, Be'eshut Mamanan, Livarech Eloheinu V'alchanu Mishalo, Baruch Eloheinu Mahanu Shalom Tufo Hayinu. Of course, I'm doing a very bad job. My voice is out of shape right now. But that particular song goes on for about 45 minutes. When I was that age, what we would sing instead was let's see. I'm blanking. I can't believe it. What? Yes. Let's see. I'll come back to it. How's that? Yeah. Yeah. Well, no. That's not the same thing. Yeah. No. So the last song was different depending on who sung it, right? I have a cousin, a distant cousin, supposedly. I've never met them, named Jose Cohen in Mexico City, and so he sang it one way, and of course we sang it another way. The song is Hine Matov, and Hine Matov. The way I learned it originally was Hine Matov Umanayim Sheverachim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Umanayim Sheverachim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Sheverachim Gam Yachad, and kind of continues like that, right? But down in Mexico City, it might be sung this way, which is Ine Matov. Let's see. Ine Matov Umanaim Sheverachim Gam Yachad. Right. So I remember the Birchat part. And so that we'd change the words. We'd say something along the lines of, rubber tires never break. The heat in the sun makes the tires melt in the sand. Trichaeopectate. I broke my toe in the sand while trying to stand on my hands. I fell on my knees and started to sneeze, and that's what brought on my allergies. Ooh, that man ran smack into a horse. Oh, what an awful mess. He was wearing a dress, and then, it'd go on from there. So, things that were culturally my youth, and those songs still stay with me. There are many others, but those are just a little sample of what I pulled together for this service, and I can tell you it was joyful. Many of you might know or have heard of the Orthodox sect by the name of Chassids, right? Chassidim. Chassidim are the Jews who are ultra-Orthodox, wear black, have payas, have black hats, things like that, walk around New York a lot. They have, their tradition actually is song. It's everything is spiritual, everything is song. So if you have any opportunity to go and to listen and everything else, expect to have a very kind of patriarchy related and very conservative related time, but also a very musical and very joyous time. So that's the ultra Orthodox part of that religion, and on down to a lot of those ideas and things like that were passed down and have brought forth a little irreverence and a little comedy and joy into current modern day Reform Judaism, which is where I came from, which is all the way on the other side of liberal. So, all right. Well, thank you very much.
I actually came upon a Hasidim, I don't know what the sect was. They thought that in New York when I was staying there once. And I will say, if you do come upon this, one of those beautiful, fun celebrations in the middle of New York City or somewhere, if you're a woman, do not join in. They were dancing, they were playing flutes, but it was all men, and a woman that was standing on the side, one of those old hippies, just started, wanted to dance, and this man just kind of walked her over back to where she was supposed to stand and made it clear to her she did not get to participate. So, it's a rule. It's a rule. And Hine Matov, from my favorite album, it was a concert by Harry Belafonte. He sang it, Hine Matov Namahayam, da-da-da-dum, da-dum-ba, nail dan, da-dum-ba. And, that I wanted to make the point that although we kind of get nervous sometimes about that word appropriation, music, art, many things, cultural things, I would not, that pull from different cultures over many years, hundreds of years, I would call that cultural evolution. Or something. Somebody else came up with another word. I can't remember what. Influence. I mean, yes, there certainly is appropriation, but there's also this worldwide cultural blending that go on. And Hine Matov is one of those. And so my family was also, you could almost repeat what Lana said about my family. And except Grandpa was the choir director at their church. And Grandma played the piano and all that. Okay. But with the the evolution and all of that in mind, I had a couple of songs that my family always used. The first one we always use, or often use, for funerals. And I was going to say the last time I sang it was a couple of weeks ago at my uncle's funeral, and he died at 97. He would have been singing with us. Maybe he was. But we sang it again yesterday. I went to an ashes interment at Quenemo of the man, some of you may remember the Vassar Playhouse, and I was in their very first season, and the man of the couple who established that had died 2 or 3 years ago, a couple of years ago, and they'd saved his ashes to come and intern there, and we had a big reunion of all the people that had taken part. And so as we walked from the gazebo and walked over to where they were going to put his ashes in the grave, I asked Vida if we could do this song, his wife. And so imagine people walking through a graveyard in the sunshine with this song, and please join me, because that's the way we always do it. Someone starts it, and everybody else joins in. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. If you get there before I do, coming for to carry me home, tell all my friends I'm coming there too, coming for to carry me home. And another way that culture gets blended and passed down, I realized, is lullabies. Joe just walked in the door. He doesn't know I'm going to ask him this. Would you sing the lullaby that you sang to our boys? Because talk about cultural blending. No? You don't remember what it was? Oh, I do. Okay. I did cut that. I mean, he literally just walked in the door, so I won't do that to him. But he would sing to our boys when he was singing them to sleep. Oh Lord, it's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way. I can't wait to look in the mirror, 'cause I get better looking each day. To know me is to love me. I must be a hell of a man. Oh Lord, it's hard to be humble, but I'm doing the best that I can. And you all remember that. Do you remember who sang it? Mac Davis. You did? You get me. That's true. And they did. So I'm sure it was a song. Yes. Huh? Right, absolutely, yeah. The other one, the original was that way. Well, I didn't do it. You did. So anyway, so I got to thinking, lullabies really are. Culture gets passed down with that, mother to mother pretty much, but sometimes fathers. And the one in our family is horrible. I love it. It has great harmonies. If you know it, please sing it with me. My sisters hated parts of the lyrics so much, they thought they were like traumatizing for kids. But if you think about it, many, many lullabies have very traumatic kinds of lyrics. I mean, or ashes, ashes, we all fall down. That was from the plague and all the ashes falling from the burning bodies. So, and you're in the treetop and the bough breaks and you fall. It's really more about, the kids don't get it at the time because it's so soothing. And they're little and they don't get it all. But really, lullabies are more about soothing the parent, soothing the mother about all the horrible things that she worries about for this child, but to be able to soothe herself through them. So this one, and you may know it because I think a lot of people did. Erin earlier said that she got sung this song with the original lyrics. I do not know what my sisters changed it to. Now don't you remember how long time ago two poor little babes whose names I don't know went strolling away one bright summer's day and got lost in the woods, I've heard people say. And when it was night, so sad was their plight, the sun had gone down and the moon gave no light. They sobbed and they sighed and they bitterly cried, and the poor little babes, they laid down and died. And when they were dead, the robin so red brought strawberry leaves and over them spread, and all the night long they sang them this song. Poor babes in the woods, poor babes in the woods. And I actually looked that song up, and it comes from England, from it's old, has Old English, and I'm sure it was designed to get kids afraid of the woods and not go in because it was dangerous. So anyway, Mindy had something she'd like to share, and then we have about 10 more minutes if people want to share a little bit of something. Mindy?
Mine is technically not music, but you could make it into music because it was a poem that had the rules of alternating lines, 10 syllables, 6 syllables, and alternating stressed, unstressed syllables. So if I knew how to write music and I knew how to sing, I would do it as a song. It's also a 7-minute poem, but I'm not going to put you through that. And anybody who knows me can guess it's about one of my dogs. So, slurp! What a joy to awaken each day to Gidget's boundless glee. I am blessed that her circuitous pathway at last brought her to me. But her life was not always slurps of cheer, adopted then returned by a pack she'd loved for more than a year. How could she feel but spurned? Desperate for a poodle, I'd traverse the state that mild September day. Doggy hopes crushed, I was rescued by fate when Gidget ran my way. She launched her body from 3 feet away and kissed me fervently. I'm glad she could see what I couldn't that day, and she adopted me. By the way, I didn't know I was doing this, so I'm scrolling as I go. So, her high-pitched call leads us to the dog park. Scooping poop is my task. While they sniff, answer P-mail, play and bark, and who owns whom, you ask? Now crouched to stalk a squirrel running past. With instincts Gidge can't air. She caught the rodent and know-how dimmed fast. She tossed it in the air. I planned to lose that squirrel all along. Would you eat rodents, Mom? Seduced by human food, my siren song. I'll steal meals without qualm. Mommy's got food, time to steal from her plate. Gidge, lay down. Gidge, be good. Over time, I've learned to curl up and wait. My eyes never leave her food. Mom tells me she loves me every day. Says she won the dog lottery. You are perfectly imperfect, she'll say. Then her eyes get watery. Mommy is so blessed, but she worries too. Says dogs don't live as long. Savor each moment and as memories accrue. Then she writes me a song. All dogs but poodles once made Mommy snooze. I kissed her wide awake. Now you're all I could wish for, and my muse, she says as we share cake. Thank you.
Well, as often happens when we kind of open things up, I didn't check with Vicki. She needed to say something about what's going to be the postlude, which will stop the streaming before that, but she wanted to kind of say something about our prelude and our postlude.
I didn't come from a musical family. In fact, the lullaby I sang to my kid came from Disney's Dumbo. I mean, that's the level of music I brought to the family. So the prelude, how many of you watched Outlander? Okay. How many of you also read the books? Okay, we've got some few lovers. Okay. Our daughter Beth, when she was on her sabbatical last year, before then, she's the one that actually got me tied into Outlander. And then also doing the Ancestry.com. So I've come to find out I have a whole lot of Scottish background. So the prelude is to the theme song to Outlander, and they changed the words. And the song actually goes back to an earlier Celtic song about, and then eventually got taken over by someone who wrote about a cuckoo lamenting, blah, blah, blah. And then Robert Stevenson then in the 1870s took that song and lyrics and changed it, and it's all about Charles Stuart fleeing after the Battle of Culloden. And our daughter a year ago actually went to the battlefield of Culloden the day after the anniversary, and she said that graves were all covered. So it is still there in that Scottish genetic memory. But the prelude, then they changed it for Outlander. The original Stevenson talked about in 1892, 150 years after Culloden. It's Sing Me a Song of a Lad That Is Gone, because it's about the journey and the retreat of Charles Stewart, eventually quickly to the Isle of Skye, and then to a boat being hidden by his maid, Fiona MacDonald. So, and I hate to admit, I think I'm kind of a real distant relative of the man. So, for Outlander, they changed it to, of course, Sing Me a Song of a Lass That Is Gone. By the way, the Skyboat song has been recovered by Doctor Who. It appeared in Sex and the City, Rod Stewart, Paul Robertson. It's been used a lot. But I want to tell you that Sing Me a Lass That Is Gone is a real recent one. The postlude, of course, it's got to be bagpipes. It's got to be. It's going to be Amazing Grace and 200 bagpipes.
And we will extinguish our chalice, and may you all be blessed until we meet again.